The journey of mastering a camera begins with curiosity. At first, it seems like a simple device: point, click, and capture. But as you explore deeper, you realize that behind every stunning photograph lies a delicate balance of settings, light, and composition. You start to notice the limitations of auto mode, the frustration of not having full control over how your images look. This is the moment every photographer experiences, the turning point where the camera stops being just a tool and becomes an extension of their vision. Cameras, as we know them today, are the result of centuries of innovation. The earliest form of photography dates back to the camera obscura, a dark chamber with a tiny hole that projected an image onto a surface. It was a fascinating discovery, but it lacked the ability to preserve the image. The first successful photograph was taken in the early 19th century by Joseph Nicephore Niepce, who used a metal plate coated with light-sensitive chemicals. The exposure time? 8 hours. Fast forward to the 20th century, and cameras became more accessible, evolving from large-format glass plates to 35mm film, and eventually to digital sensors. With each leap in technology, photography became more convenient, yet the fundamentals of capturing light remained the same. Modern cameras are equipped with multiple shooting modes, each designed to simplify the process of capturing a well-exposed image. Auto mode is the default choice for most beginners, allowing the camera to make all the decisions: aperture, shutter speed, ISO, and sometimes even focus. While convenient, it removes creative control, often producing flat, generic images. To truly elevate your photography, you must take control of your camera's settings, learning how to manipulate light, motion, and depth to create the image you envision. Aperture controls how much light enters the lens and directly affects depth of field. A wide aperture, such as f1.8, creates a shallow depth of field, blurring the background and drawing attention to the subject. This is commonly used in portrait photography to separate the subject from distractions. A narrow aperture, like f16, ensures everything in the frame is in focus, ideal for landscapes where every detail matters. By understanding how aperture affects your images, you begin to shape your compositions with greater intention. Shutter speed determines how long light is allowed to hit the camera's sensor. A fast shutter speed, such as 1000s, freezes motion, perfect for capturing fast-moving subjects like sports, wildlife, or splashing water. A slow shutter speed, like 110s, introduces motion blur, adding a sense of movement to an image. Long exposures, where the shutter remains open for several seconds or even minutes, can create dramatic effects, such as light trails from passing cars or silky smooth waterfalls. Learning to control shutter speed gives you the ability to dictate time within your images. ISO is the camera's sensitivity to light. In bright conditions, a low ISO of 100 or 200 keeps the image clean and noise-free. In low-light situations, raising the ISO to 1600 or beyond makes the sensor more sensitive, allowing you to capture brighter images, but at the cost of introducing grain. Balancing ISO with aperture and shutter speed is key to achieving the best possible image quality in any lighting situation. These three elements, aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, form what photographers call the exposure triangle. They work together to control how light is captured, and adjusting one setting requires compensating with another to maintain a well-exposed image. Mastering this balance is the key to unlocking full creative control. Shooting in aperture priority mode allows you to set the aperture while the camera adjusts the shutter speed to maintain proper exposure. This is useful in situations where depth of field is the priority, such as portraits or landscapes. Shutter priority mode, on the other hand, lets you control shutter speed while the camera selects the appropriate aperture. This is ideal for capturing fast action or introducing motion blur. Manual mode is where complete control is handed over to the photographer. Every setting must be adjusted based on the available light and the desired effect. This can feel intimidating at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature. The reward is absolute creative freedom. You are no longer at the mercy of your camera's automatic settings. Every decision, from exposure to focus, is in your hands. Learning to use manual mode effectively requires understanding metering. Cameras use different metering modes to measure light and determine proper exposure. Evaluative metering assesses the entire scene, center-weighted metering prioritizes the middle of the frame, and spot metering measures light from a small area. Choosing the right metering mode helps ensure your subject is properly exposed, even in challenging lighting conditions. White balance is another important setting that affects the color tones of your images. Different light sources have different color temperatures. Daylight is blue, tungsten light is orange, and fluorescent light is green. While auto white balance can handle most situations, manually setting it allows you to achieve accurate colors or create specific moods in your images. Focus modes also play a crucial role in capturing sharp images. Autofocus offers different options: single point AF for precise control, continuous AF for tracking moving subjects, and zone AF for broader focus areas. In some cases, manual focus provides the best results, especially in low-light conditions or macro photography. Understanding the relationship between these settings allows you to adapt to any shooting scenario. Consider street photography, where moments unfold in an instant. Shooting in aperture priority with a moderate aperture like f5.6 ensures a balance between subject isolation and sufficient depth of field. For action photography, shutter priority with a fast shutter speed freezes decisive moments. In controlled environments like studio photography, manual mode offers the precision needed for consistent results. The transition from auto to manual mode is not immediate. It's a journey of experimentation and practice. Start by using aperture or shutter priority modes to get comfortable adjusting exposure settings. Pay attention to how changes in one setting affect the overall image. Gradually move into manual mode, taking test shots and reviewing the exposure using the histogram, a graph that displays the brightness levels in an image. This helps in achieving a balanced exposure without relying on the camera's preview screen. Studying the work of great photographers provides insight into how camera settings influence storytelling. Ansel Adams, known for his breathtaking landscapes, meticulously controlled aperture and exposure to achieve sharp, detailed images with deep tonal range. Henri Cartier-Bresson, the master of candid photography, relied on quick shutter speeds and precise timing to capture fleeting moments. Understanding their techniques allows you to incorporate similar principles into your own work. Photography is not just about technical knowledge. It's about seeing light, anticipating moments, and composing with intent. Learning to read a scene, recognizing how shadows and highlights interact, and adjusting settings instinctively transforms the way you capture images. The more you practice, the more intuitive these decisions become. Shooting in different lighting conditions strengthens your ability to adapt. Sunrise and sunset offer dramatic lighting, with soft, directional light that enhances textures and colors. Midday light can be harsh, requiring adjustments in exposure and white balance to maintain detail. Low-light photography challenges you to find creative solutions, whether by increasing ISO, using a tripod, or incorporating artificial light sources. Mastering camera modes is not about memorizing settings. It's about understanding the principles behind them and applying them creatively. Each photograph tells a story, and every setting you choose shapes how that story is conveyed. The true holy grail of camera modes is not a single mode, but the ability to switch seamlessly between them, adapting to each moment with confidence. As you continue to refine your skills, experiment with different genres of photography. Portraits challenge you to control depth of field and lighting. Landscapes require patience and an understanding of composition. Action photography demands precise shutter speed control. Each genre strengthens your technical abilities and artistic vision. The greatest photographers are not defined by the cameras they use, but by their mastery of light, exposure, and composition. Your camera is a tool, and the real magic happens when you fully understand its potential. The journey to unlocking the holy grail of camera modes is one of continuous learning, observation, and experimentation. Every click of the shutter is an opportunity to improve, to see the world differently, and to tell stories that resonate. Embrace the challenge, take control of your camera, and transform the way you capture the world. Every setting, every adjustment, every decision brings you closer to the mastery you seek. The Holy Grail is not a destination, it's the journey itself, the endless pursuit of light, detail, and emotion, captured one frame at a time. Found this video helpful? Make sure to like it. It really helps support the channel.